Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about how to build up confidence when it comes to speaking a foreign language. So many people telling me that I sound absolutely confident when I speak a foreign language, but the truth is I wasn't born this way and I used to be super timid as well. So when and how did things start to change? I think it will have to go back to when I was 11 years old. So my dad knew the importance of learning a foreign language, and in this case, English. So he signed me up to one of these weekend English classes, which were taught by native speakers. So when I first joined the class, I was not used to sharing my opinion or sharing my answers with the class. I only talked a little bit when it was my turn. Anyway, so one day in class, I don't remember what the teacher asked, nor where did I pluck up the courage to actually volunteer to share my answer with the class, but I did. And I clearly remember that day after class, well, my teacher in class was a Canadian guy who actually spoke some Chinese. So when my dad came to pick me up after school, he told my dad that Cecilia was doing great today. She volunteered to speak in class and she shared her answer with the classmates. And my dad was, of course, very proud of me. What's interesting is after hearing him saying that, I somehow started to feel more encouraged to share things in class. And I also felt more motivated. I went to English speech contest, I did English debate. Now I have this YouTube channel in English. But if we rewind a little bit to what the teacher said the other day to my dad, he didn't say how correct my grammar was, nor how good my pronunciation was. None of these mattered. He simply said, I volunteered to share my answer with the class. I spoke up. So when it comes to how to build up confidence in speaking a foreign language, I would like to break it down to two parts. One is action and the other one is attitude. So let's start with action. Be a doer. So when it comes to confidence, a lot of people would say that you shouldn't be seeking it from external validation. You should have that trust and belief in yourself. And I agree with that, but I think that's only half true. If you really think about anything that you feel confident in, doesn't matter if it's cooking or speaking a foreign language, you are confident in that because you do that often enough for you to know that you wouldn't fail. So when I first made French toast, I didn't feel confident at all. I was following the instruction. I was watching YouTube videos. I didn't know if I put enough sugar or if I put too much milk. My first try wasn't that big of a success, but it didn't poison me. But then I learned from my first trial, and the second time I made it, I was like, okay, so I have to put this much milk, I have to put maybe a little bit more sugar. The 10th time when I do it, I could invite a friend. I don't even need to look at any instruction or any video. I know it by heart because I do it a lot and I taste my own food, so I know if it's good or if it's not. So what I'm trying to say is, external validation doesn't necessarily have to be like coming from other people. It could be your self-evaluation. What matters is you will have to put yourself out there. You have to do it first to know if you can actually make any French toast at all. Doesn't matter if it tastes good or not, at least you know, okay, I am able to finish this. So it's the same speaking a foreign language. If you want to feel confident, you will have to have enough practice. I know that there are times when you are not sure about how to say something, but after saying that word for a few times, you know that, okay, it is tenedor. I can say it with confidence. I know that's the right word to say. But if you don't ever start using this language, you will never get to the point where you feel confident. And the second thing I want to talk about is attitude. I think the main attitude here in language learning is do not take yourself too seriously. First thing first, I want to point out that when you learn a foreign language, you need to recognize that you are not a native speaker, you are a language learner. So it doesn't make any sense that you expect yourself to open your mouth for the first time and you sound like a native speaker. It just doesn't work this way. There's no point, nor is it realistic to pressure yourself to be able to speak perfectly. I think perfectionism is an easy trap for so many language learners because they feel that,
oh, I'm not gonna talk with a native speaker until I speak perfect Spanish or perfect English.
But if you really ask yourself, what is being perfect, because guess what? You can always get better. You can always be more perfect. It all depends on the standard that you set for yourself. Whatever you're afraid of is merely the voice in your head. It's not about how other people would see you if you make a mistake. It's pure self-consciousness. It's what you think other people would think of you if you make a mistake. So if you're able to laugh at your own mistake, I think things will get a lot easier. I say things wrong all the time and I would just like laugh about it, or I would just make fun of myself. No big deal. Or if a word is at the tip of your tongue and you feel like, oh, I don't remember how to say that specific thing, you can try to describe it and ask for help. And I think this is actually how you would grow when you communicate with other people. I don't think admitting that you're not perfect or asking for help is a sign of weakness, or it's a sign of saying, oh, I suck. I think that's a sign of strength, and I think that's eventually what's gonna help you grow. So now comes the most important question of how do I actually do it? So I have two simple suggestions. The first one is start small, practice speaking little by little based on your own language level. You don't necessarily have to have a long conversation about life purpose. It could be as simple as order a cup of coffee or ask for direction on street. And I perfectly understand that if you order coffee for the first time in this foreign language, you probably don't feel confident about your pronunciation or if you are using the right tone. But if you go to a different coffee shop every single day, ordering the same kind of coffee, a week later, I'm sure you're gonna be able to say it perfectly because you've said it so many times that you know you're saying it right. And that's how you sound confident when you say something. And the second suggestion is ask more questions. I think asking questions is probably the easiest way to get a conversation flow. When I first went to the restaurant here, you know how Spain has this menu del dia, which is like lunch special. So when the waiter told me, here are our lunch special today, I almost never asked questions and only understood maybe one or two dishes that he mentions. And I would normally just order the one or two things that I understand. But later, when I actually decided to consciously practice my listening and speaking, I would actually ask the waiter to repeat. Or if I don't understand something, I would say, oh, what's the third thing that you mentioned? Is it some kind of fish? As long as you don't ask the same question for every single dish that he mentions, I think it's fine. You can just like pick one small thing to ask. And then you sort of start to know how to get the conversation going and how to actually interact with people in this new language. And of course, at the same time, you're gonna be able to learn a lot of words that people use in real life. I actually read this interesting paragraph the other day and I think it fit perfectly to what we're talking about today. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of these could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marked by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. And that's all I want to share with you today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!